All right, here we go. So I've been itching, I've been thinking, I've been contemplating, I've been meditating, I've been really focusing on what I feel is the most important things in life right now. So I guess this video is going to be just a little bit of me just kind of sharing openly, even as thoughts just come up as I'm sharing in the video now. And I'm trying to decide how I want to move forward with my life, where I want to put my time and energy and what's most important. And it was funny because, funnily divine, I'll say, like it's divine, I believe. This is what I always come back to, right? Like I haven't really been posting much over the past several weeks because I just have been thinking, I've been contemplating, I've been, getting in my own way a bit. But also I think, just being patient and thinking what I want to bring to the world and what would be of value. And I've contemplated this a bunch. And I think A Course in Miracles is a great thing to share. So I'll probably do more of that. And what I keep coming back to is I have these other ideas and I'm like, well, I could talk about this, I could do this, I could try this. It's just really, I always fundamentally come back to A Course in Miracles and what it teaches in a way, but also the reason why A Course in Miracles, I do it and I enjoy it so much is because it's what I'm kind of intuiting and believe myself. It's like, if you do practice, if you sit in contemplation, or if that could be called, I guess meditation could be the same, it's the same thing, you could interchange those terms. You start to connect to the answers, because the answers are within you. That you're connected. I always come back and I think I just intuit this stuff. It's like, I'm just like, something's letting me know that you and I, when I say I mean you and all of us. And when I say things and I say anything, I am including in myself in this, because as of right now, at least, I find myself to be a flawed human being who is trying to find his way in what seems like a really crazy world that I think we overcomplicate. And, trying to best understand terms and terminology and not get too caught up in it, right? Like this means this or this means that. Maybe that's important, maybe it's not. Like terms like the ego and what that really is, and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to make a video today. I wanted to start taking my time more with the channel. Maybe posting maybe less often, but making sure the quality of the content is better. And then taking one, maybe try to post once a week right now, and longer video, and then, break some shorts out of that if that's what I feel. And it's hard because right now I'm trying to navigate things in my life like everybody else is, financially, figuring out what direction I want to go inside my family. I have a wife and I have 2 kids, and trying to figure out how to best do all of those things as we're flying along here, because life doesn't stop, for you. It's like that analogy I heard a while ago and I use sometimes, where it's like a 747 or a plane, whatever, a helicopter flying through the air and, having to do repairs on the engine mid-flight. That's how I kind of view the human experience right now, as of in my life. And that's the cool thing about it, is like, I am where I am. I'm as intelligent as I am as smart or whatever. Like, I don't always view myself as the smartest person or whatever. Like, I have trouble sometimes comprehending things. I don't do the best in maybe getting out what's in here, or what I'm intuiting out into human words, or even when you're in a text type format, like I'm able to explain out into human form, what's going on inside my head, or not even inside my head, really. That's kind of funny you say that, right? Because it's like, really how I think of things is, it's a consciousness. Like, everything's a choice. It's a consciousness that we're in. We can be in a consciousness that's heaven. We can be in a consciousness that's hell. And I made a funny comment yesterday that I feel like currently I'm in both, if that's possible. I don't know. Maybe that's just a mindset and a flawed thought of my own. That like I have one foot in heaven and one foot in hell. Because there's still a bit of suffering for sure in my life. And sometimes I contemplate that and think, well, maybe that's just always going to be a part of life, right? Like, feeling that way, being challenged, having responsibilities, which is another topic we can get into and talk about here, is not really what humans are geared for, or at least now, maybe we've just been kind of indoctrinated and programmed and manipulated in a direction where that's not what we choose, right? We tend to want to be lazy sometimes. We tend to want to look for convenience. I mean, take a look at the world around us right now, right? It's the most convenient it's ever been, right? Everything's at your fingertips. You can go to the store and there's a gazillion things on the shelf wherever you go. If that's groceries or toys for your kids or, all the different candies and gums and, kind of crap, I would say. But like, also at the same time, like I understand that sometimes there needs to be some enjoyment maybe through those things. Maybe not. I'm contemplating that as well. And I'm also doing a lot of that also in my life, which is probably why the last few weeks have been the way they were for me, because I'm really digging into my own emotions and my own addictions and food in my life, right? That's something else I can talk to. But let me finish. Maybe I'll come back to that if I can remember. Back to like everything on the show, and then you go to you turn on the TV if you have one. If you're smart, maybe you don't. And then like the kids there's Netflix and all these streaming platforms where it's like you can have a gazillion choices. It's no wonder every kid, including even adults, really, let's not forget here, that we're ADHD, or that's like a label that's been becoming like just everyone. It seems like we just went out with a couple of friends yesterday. Oh, we don't know what to do with our son. He just has trouble focusing. He has trouble, comprehending things in school and, all that. And this is a deeper conversation than just like, we're over-convenienced and we're overstimulated. Like that's a big, huge part of this, but there's deeper things that even go into that as far as, and I'll just hit on it real quick and move forward. Like I believe the way a child or a human being comes into the world, right? Like we come into the world, how was the pregnancy? How was mom? How was dad during that time? Was it extremely stressful? Was their nutrition good and adequate? Were they eating nutrient-dense foods? Whatever that is for you, right? Like, there's all kinds of controversy in the world around that. And then stuff that happens to people and children once they come into the world, things that are injected into them. And is this stuff necessary? I know my beliefs around it. And maybe I'll just discuss stuff like this and not even get into like what I fully believe, and I'll just discuss the topics, and then that leaves you thinking, and then you can comment, you can reach out to me, you can because I always really have wanted to develop a community, and I had a guy that I was exchanging back and forth with that was asking me questions today in the community that I'm in that's really doing what I would love to do and continue to do. I'd love to be a part of that and create my own, and then maybe we interconnect or whatever happens, right? But having this conversation back and forth with this gentleman it felt good. I woke up and sometimes I battle the mind. I battle the thoughts. I battle, and maybe I shouldn't say battle, because I'm really learning to embrace and integrate instead of battle. And I know I'm going off track, but whatever. I'm just going to talk about whatever comes up for me. And if I bounce here and bounce there and you don't enjoy that, then tune out and don't listen. I'm really working on that. I did some research into shadow work and a gentleman named Robert Augustus Masters, came up for me, and I was asked to do some research into that, and like, it was enjoyable. And he talked about integrate that, not be feeling shame and all this stuff around these parts of us, but integrating them. So I would really love to have these conversations every day, make videos like this, and, make this be the way that I show up in the world, and make that work in some type of way all the way around the board to meet all my needs. And then it's like, once you can master something like this in your life, then you can teach and help others to do the same thing. And that's how we get out of what I see as a slave system that's been created around us currently. I can see that. I did mention responsibility and wanted to get back to that. I think that we pass off a lot. I know that I have in my life. I've not wanted to take responsibility for certain things, and I see that all around, all the time, around me, and other people as well. Because other people are a reflection of me. Maybe I'm attracting those people so that I see it in them, and then I say, well, Eric, is this in you? Maybe that's all that the whole entire outside world really is for. So, but like really fundamentally getting back to what I really want to do and what I believe in is that we are all, whatever you want to call it, if you want to use the term God, if you want to use the term source, creation, life force, energy. I read this, and I wanted to share this, and I probably will once I have the paper here with me. I was reading this paper, and I was like, this is actually really, really interesting. And it's funny how these different resources will come into your life, and you realize how interconnected everything is. This thing's talking about this in a way that this thing over here that I was just looking at the other day or paying attention to says the same thing, but it may be in a little bit of a different way. And so I feel like I didn't finish on the responsibility thing. I wanted to go back to like our responsibility, I feel, as human beings living here, is to figure out really what our belief is. And I think if you really dissect that and get down to what works best while you're a human, and what works best inside of humanity for every human, every person, not just a select group of people or one individual or like I said, a small group of people, which I see kind of what's happening in the world today, to benefit, but all of us to benefit, all of us to live our best lives. And that, like, I was asked, like, well, what does love mean to you? And I'm like, that's what it means to me, right? Like, to be a force of light and love, whatever that means for you. Now, like, my definition of love could be different than yours, and vice versa. But I think if you're coming from the root of what human beings are, at least from what I can see and what I believe, is that we are light, we are love, as Buddha and Jesus used to teach, or, do teach, or, I don't even know how to really speak of those entities. I kind of feel like everything in those type of people, energies are always with us. Like, even like people that have passed away, death, passed away, and they're always with us. Like, they're like, we just, in this body, we just can't really see all the things that are happening. Like, there's just a small percentage that we can see and feel. Like, well, maybe not feel, I feel like I can feel it all, but actually see in like the physical environment. And I guess some people I guess some people can, see those things and hear things and things like that. But like this responsibility thing. So like, I feel like I'm responsible on setting that foundation in my life and figuring out what that is. So showing up as love and whatever you would think of God. Now, I'm not a religious person. If you followed the channel, you probably figured that out by now. I've already said that. But if you're new to the channel, I know I'm 15 minutes or whatever into this video, but I'm going to be doing more contemplation, more meditation. I really want to do this for longer periods of time in the day, because when I'm in this world, it feels very it feels very challenging and heavy and like suffering and stuff at times. And if I can just put on a pair of noise deafening headphones and listen to some music, and or really just sit in silence if you really can get really good at it, or use some music, or use whatever tool helps you get there, and you can like connect to something that is reality to me. But if you've never done this, you're going to listen to me and think, what is this guy talking about, or whatever. But if you have, you'll know what I'm talking about, and you'll resonate with this. But if you haven't, you just might be like, I can't understand this. Well, I challenge you to try it. Try doing this. Try sitting in contemplation or meditation. I've suggested this before on the channel. Start working on a few minutes a day and build yourself up, and go as long as you can. The longer, for me, right now where I'm at, it takes me about 15 minutes or so. And then once 15 minutes or so is up, I feel like I'm starting to really like forget about the body, sink into all that really is. And then like that's when the magic or the miracles start to happen. You know, and it's like, so the longer I sit, the more connected I become to that. And I don't know, like I said, I'm just a beginner, really just a novice. Like over the past couple of years of my life, I've been going back and forth with doing these things. So anyway, I think that I know there was a ton more that I could share on. I didn't want this to get too terribly long, so I think I'll wrap it up. And I really want to do more of this. I just really want to come into these videos and share things that I think, and I just get caught up in my own shit and think, nah, maybe this isn't the direction. And that's okay. You know what I figured? I used to get hard on myself, say, oh, I screwed up again, and I didn't stay consistent with this, and da-da-da. Now I can see the advancement in myself of, so what? Who cares? You took a break. You weren't really sure what to talk about. You were contemplating more. You were meditating more. You were looking at, you were being loving and graceful with yourself, resting, instead of doing and freaking doing more and more and more and more like the society's been programmed to do. That's a beautiful thing, right? That's an absolutely beautiful thing to do for yourself. Is to slow down and contemplate and allow source energy into your life, instead of trying to constantly batter ram your way through all of this and get in your own way. But like, anyway, let me just finish on this note. So I was talking about like my responsibility, and I think in a way we don't want to take on the responsibility of what it really means to be a fully integrated, source-based, energy-based, God-based, nature-based human, because it's, at least for me, and I'll say this, and what I see and what I hear in other people, is it can be really super challenging to do so. It can be super challenging to show up as love, as crazy as that may sound. It can be super challenging to show up as love. Because as soon as something's pestering you, or something's bothering you, or something's challenging you, it's real easy to check out and attack. It's way harder to show up as love and grace towards that thing, whatever that is. Whether it's a human, whether it's something going on in humanity, something that happened out in the mainstream, like there's some events happening right now in the mainstream that I think is a full-on play. And that's what I think the mainstream is. I think it's a play, it's a show. And yeah, let me get back to what I was saying. Responsibility in becoming fully aware and present to how we respond, instead of reacting in the same old ways. That's a challenge. That's upgrading. That's responsible. And I was having this discussion earlier, and I said, if each and every human being here chose this, or chose to go this path, and yeah, it's going to be messy and mucky and stuff all along the way, and maybe that's the point of all of this. Maybe that's the point of this existence in this 3D realm we call Earth and all that, is like, it's because you're always going to be giving birth to new children. And now, this is a whole other conversation to have. So, but like, I just want to see humanity, the people that are at least capable, not children. Children can be taught, and I'm not saying children might know more than we do at times, because they can be closer to God depending on their age. I think it could teach us a few things. I know my kids do. And if you just tune into that and become more aware of presence. So really what I'm saying in a roundabout way, and as long story short, is I want to bring more love. I think that that's all that's here. I think that's all that's really true reality. And the rest of it is, it's all a choice in what we tune into, right? What do we give our attention to? If there's something that's trying to drag us off and it's a distraction mechanism, do we choose to give our energy to that? Or do we say, no, I'm good with that. That's probably not a great decision. I'm going to stay over here in really what matters in my life. And the more aware you become and the more present you become through the contemplation practices, through the meditative practices, through breath work, through, whatever that is for you, whatever that looks like for you. I'm saying you have to sit in some yogi position in silence for hours and, find whatever ways work for you and develop that over time. The more we become aware and present, we'll realize that that's all there is love. That's all we are. We are the light. We don't need differences and all that stuff. We don't really truly need that in our lives. Somebody asked me, well, what do you mean? How is everything love? How would we know the difference between love and hate then? And I just was thinking, it made me think and contemplate, which was awesome. And I was like, well, that's all we are is love. That's all we are is the light. We don't need an opposite to what we are to know what that is. So that's what I feel. That's what I believe. And I'm going to bring my beliefs and my perspectives to this channel. And I want to motivate you. My goal or my service through this is I want to motivate you to be more of this. It's quite simple, really, but it hasn't. The way the society and it has gone, it's not so simple anymore. There's distractions everywhere. You could call that distractions the devil or Satan or darkness. When really, if you just don't tune into them, engage in them, they don't exist and they would go away. They would go away. Humanity would tune out. Wherever humanity's attention goes is what you're going to see in the world. So if we can get together in grassroots communities and rebuild this thing, right? Because right now the whole system has been just corrupted and corroded. It's going to collapse. It's going to fall on itself. Lots of people are going to get hurt and killed and all this stuff. So, but there's hopefully, if we kind of make it through all of this, then we can, we're going to have to build something. And I heard somebody say, and I always kind of bash government and say things about government. And I heard somebody say, it's not really the government, the structure is not the issue. It's the humans that are in there. It's the beliefs and the mindset and the consciousness that's in there. It's like I think I contemplate stuff because I contemplate this because I think about that often too. I'm like, without some sort of structure in place, ultimately, I think possibly humans are just, if without having all the programming and indoctrination and all the manipulation, I think humans are good-natured and loving, like I'm saying. That's what I want to bring out in people. And I'm losing my train of thought a little bit. What was I saying? I'm losing my train of thought. Something about with the love and dark and all this stuff, and it just won't, the darkness and stuff just won't be, it isn't a thing unless we allow it and choose it. I think I lost my train of thought there, so I apologize. I was just going to wait a minute to see if it came back, but I'm going to wrap this up, I think, before it gets too long, and I'm running out of space on my phone, and I battle that too. Like I just like, man, this world we live in. And it's like, that's the other thing too. It's like, I'll kind of say stuff about, it's like people will bash technology and say like, whatever, it can be a tool, or it can be it really can be an addiction or a tool. And it's like, I'm going to get my message through this because this is how you can reach so many people so quickly. But then it's good. You have to also be able to detach, move away from the screens, and go live out in real life. Like, I love going in with my chickens. My chickens really bring, like, I have chickens, and like I love putting my bare feet on the ground and walking on earth and walking out and walking and being with my chickens and stuff like that. That feels so grounding and so centering to me. And that's what I do. And I'm like, if I'm inside for a while and I'm working on a video or I'm working on this stuff to post out there, I got to get off of it. I gotta walk away from it. And everything, people have said some different things to me, and I think, even though I fight it sometimes, everything will happen in divine timing. You know, if you're tuning in and you're kind of on the right path, there's this bullseye target that we're after here in this lifetime, and we're either kicking the can down the road and not on that path, or we're on that path. And on that note, I think I'll sign out, and I'm going to go work on getting this posted up, and I'll see you next time.